Today in our 2016 Jeep Grand Cherokee, we'll be having a look at and showing you how to install the Roadmaster Universal High Power Diode Wiring Kit, part number RM-152. Here's what our diodes look like installed. Now the reason you're going to want a set of diodes for your Grand Cherokee when you're flat towing it is that this will keep you safe and legal, giving you the necessary lighting functions required by law, and you no longer have to worry about using magnetic tow lights on your vehicle, which could scratch your paint. These diodes will allow you to use your factory tail light and brake light bulbs to treat your vehicle as a trailer now. Your brake light bulb will now function as your turn signal when you're flat towing, and your factory tail light will still be your tail lights when you're flat towing as well. This makes it quick and easy with no additional bulbs. It utilizes what your vehicle already has in it from the factory. And the diodes will serve as a protection method for your vehicle's expensive electrical components, not allowing any voltage to be backfed into your Jeep from your motorhome. Our customers really like this because they think it works very well. They no longer have to worry about storing any additional tow lights in their vehicle for when they flat tow. They simply make the one electrical connection at the front and they're ready to go. There's nothing that you need to do inside the vehicle in order to use the lights to flat tow or to use the factory lights when you want to drive around normally. You simply unplug and the diodes take care of it all for you. For this particular flat tow setup, we used a Roadmaster EZ4 base plate kit, a Roadmaster Sterling all-terrain tow bar, a SMI stay-and-play duo braking system, Roadmaster Universal High Power Diode Wiring Kit, and a Roadmaster stoplight switch. Depending on your application, you may need to purchase a high-low adapter to maintain a level tow bar. Now that we've got our some features, we'll show you how to get it installed. We went ahead and routed our 4-pole flat wiring while we had our fascia off from when we installed the base plate. We wrapped it in some electrical tape to help better conceal the wiring behind our fascia. We left a few inches exposed to make our connections. We routed it behind the base plate and the bumper beam through the slot here. Then it comes up, comes out, and then we have it resting inside our engine compartment. Now that we've shown you how we routed our wire behind our fascia, we can separate our 4-pole flat wiring. That way we have 4 individual wires. Now we'll strip off some insulation from all 4 wires. Now this kit does not come with a connector for the front of the vehicle. However, our tow bar, which is a Roadmaster Sterling all-terrain, comes with a 6-pole round connector. If you don't have a Roadmaster tow bar that comes with the connector, you can pick up one of these connectors on our website separately. We'll take this dust cover off the back, slide our wires through the cover. Let's push that out of the way for right now. We'll start with our right turn signal, which also is our right brake light, and that's this terminal labeled RT. We'll loosen the set screw, and that'll get our green wire. Place the wire inside, and we'll tighten the screw back onto the wire. Now we'll do our left turn signal and left brake light. It's terminal marked LT, and that'll get this yellow wire. Now we'll do our ground, it's a terminal marked GD, and that'll get our white wire. Now we'll do our tail light and marker light wires. That's this brown wire, and that goes to terminal marked TM. And here's what it looks like with all of our connections made. Now we'll take some dielectric grease, which we have on our website, and we'll flood the back side of our connector. This will help better protect it from the elements in case any water was to get inside, preventing any corrosion. Now we can slide our dust cover back until it's over this ridge right here. Now we'll take some electrical tape and we will tape our cover onto our connector, and we'll keep wrapping back until we cover up our exposed colored wires here. This will give us a nice clean look and help prevent any moisture from getting inside. Okay, we'll attach our connector to our base plate's arms using the provided self-tapping screws that came with our base plate. Now that we have it connected at the front, we'll show you how we routed our wire the rest of the way to the back. So it goes from behind our fascia, underneath our air box. Right next to our AC compressor, we have it zip tied to this line, which an emissions line is clipped to, making sure we avoided any moving parts and sources of heat. We're now under the vehicle. Here's where our wire comes out of our engine compartment. We brought it over our front differential, zip tied to this bracket here, went with our exhaust heat shield here, went over this bracket, underneath this plastic splash shield, to the side of our fuel tank, above our fuel filler neck hose, have it zip tied to a wiring harness here, then it goes above our rear subframe, zip tied to another wiring harness, then we wrapped it around our hitch right here, and this will help support it. We'll now open our rear hatch. We now have access to our fasteners, which hold our taillight assemblies in place. This is a plastic push pin fastener, pry up on the center section here, and then the whole clip can be removed. Okay, that's what the fastener looks like. Do the same for the one on the bottom. We'll now grab the taillight assembly and pull it back away from the vehicle. There's one bulb and there's two electrical connectors. We'll twist to pull out. We'll slide these red lock tabs back, push on the black tab, and pull to separate. We'll set this aside. We'll do the same process for the passenger side. Okay, the light bulb here, this is for our brake light bulb. This will also double as our turn signal when our vehicle is being towed. This black connector here is for our tail lights on our vehicle. So we need to make connections with one wire on each of these connectors. We don't need to do anything with this gray one, that's for reverse light. So we'll cut back some of this insulation here over our wires to expose them. It's kind of like a cloth electrical tape. We'll just keep cutting this back until we have a few inches of wire exposed. Okay, now that we have our insulation stripped back, we need to determine which one of these two wires is for our tail light. I've gone ahead and turned on our headlights, and I'll use a test light to determine which wire. Okay, it's this top terminal here, which corresponds to this white wire. So we can make our connection with this wire. So we'll cut our white wire right in the middle here. And we'll strip out the insulation from both ends. Okay, with our wires twisted together, we'll fold them back upon themselves to make them thicker. And we'll take some of our blue spade connectors here, stick them on both ends, and we'll crimp them down. We'll now take one of our diode packs. The output side will go towards our connector, and the other end of the factory wiring that we cut will go to one of the inputs. It doesn't matter which one. Okay, now we have an assistant stepping on our brake pedal. We need to determine which one of our wires is for our brake light. So we use a test light here and test our wire. Okay, it's this white wire. Okay, we'll now cut our white wire in half and strip back the insulation on both ends. And we'll crimp on our blue spade terminals. In this case, the output side of our diode pack will go towards our bulb, and the other end to one of our inputs. We're on our passenger side now. We already went ahead and removed the tape from our brake light and our tail light wires. We have our headlights turned on now. We're going to determine which wire is for our taillights. So that's this white and orange wire right here. We can turn off our headlights now and make our connection. We'll now cut that white wire and strip back our insulation. We'll crimp on our blue spade connectors now. Attach our diode pack. The output will go towards our connector, and then the other side of one of the inputs. Now we'll have somebody step on our brake pedal to determine which wires for our brake light. Okay, we have somebody stepping on our brake pedal now. I'll test our wire. Okay, it's this white wire here, so we can get off our brake pedal and make our connection. Cut that wire. Strip out the insulation, crimp our connectors on, and we'll attach our diode. Output towards our bulb, and then other end of one of the inputs. Now that we have our diodes in place on both sides with the factory wiring, we'll drop down a pull wire on the driver's side. We went ahead and taped our yellow and brown wire to our pull wire that we dropped down. Our white wire we left down over here so we can ground out. And our green wire we routed over towards our passenger side, securing to a wiring harness and over our hitch. We'll measure off how much of our white wire we need to ground out to the vehicle sheet metal. Right in this area here should be fine. So we'll cut off the excess and we'll keep it because we may need it later. Strip off some insulation. We'll take our provided ring terminal, place it on the wire, and we'll crimp it into place. We'll now use the provided self-tapping screw to secure it to the sheet metal. And that'll give us a nice solid ground. We'll pull those wires up now. We'll now measure off how much we need of our yellow and our brown wires and cut off the excess. We'll now strip off some insulation from our yellow wire and we'll crimp on one of our connectors. And we'll attach this to the diode pack that goes to our brake light bulb. This will now double as our turn signal as well. Now on our brown wire, we'll strip off some insulation. Now for the brown wire, normally I would like to use our leftover brown wire for this, but it's not long enough. So we'll use our leftover white wire, which is long enough. We'll strip off some insulation and we'll tie these two wires together and we'll attach our yellow spade connector to these wires and crimp it into place. Now this white wire will serve as our taillight wire for the passenger side, so we can drop this back down behind our fascia and we'll bring this up to the passenger side later. We'll now attach the yellow spade connector to the other input side for our taillight wire. And here's what our connections look like on the driver's side. Now we'll peel off the backing for our double-sided tape on our diode packs. We'll stick the two together, press firmly, take our dielectric grease, and we'll put this in between our connection points just to help prevent any corrosion that could occur and potentially cause the circuits to cross. Now we can plug our taillight assembly back in place and reinstall it. The white wire that we connected to our brown wire on the driver's side to bring over for our taillight signal on our passenger side, we're still going to need a little bit extra wire, so we'll strip off some insulation from the white wire and we'll strip off some insulation from our leftover brown wire. Now this way, we will end up with a brown wire for our taillight signal, and we'll combine the two. And for this, I'll use a heat shrink butt connector, which we have available on our website. And this is for 14 to 16 gauge wire. The reason I'm using a heat shrink butt connector over a standard butt connector, because this will provide a superior weather-tight seal underneath the vehicle. Now we use a heat gun to shrink down our butt connector. We have heat guns available on our website. You'll want to use this over a lighter because this being an indirect source of heat, it won't damage the connector. We went ahead and routed our white wire that's connected to our brown wires and secured it to the same spot as our green wire. And we dropped our pull wire back down and connected the two together, and now we can pull this up behind our taillight housing on the passenger side and make our connections. Okay, we'll measure off how much we need to make our connections. You can see why we needed to extend our white and brown wire originally, because we were just a few inches too short. Strip off our insulation, and we'll crimp on our blue spade terminals. All right, our green wire will go to our diode pack. That's for our turn signal and brake light. And the brown wire will go to the diode pack for our taillights. And here's what it looks like with our connections made. We'll now stick our two diode packs together like we did on the other side. We'll put our dielectric grease on between our terminals. We'll now reinstall our bulbs and our electrical connections into our taillight assembly. We'll now reinstall our taillight assembly. Alright, we're going to go ahead and test out our wiring now. We're using a trailer tester to test this. You could alternately just hook up to your motorhome and make sure everything's working that way. Okay, we'll start by turning on our taillights. As you can see, those are working. We'll do our left turn signal now. That's working. We'll do our brake lights now, and that's working. Now we'll do our right turn signal. And as you can see, that's working as well. And that completes our look at and installation of the Roadmaster Universal High Power Diode Wiring Kit, part number RM-152 on this 2016 Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Thanks for watching. Click the link in our description below to shop, learn more, or visit us at eTrailer.com. And leave us a comment if you have any questions.